Love is Blind has me on here looking freaking crazy. I thought I was going to get up and get dressed before I made this video, but oh my God. You guys, oh my God. Oh my God. I have freaking proof, okay? So I was taking notes so that we could talk about episode 3, but we're going to zip right on down to the bottom, which is uh, a note that I made. Are you ready? This is what I said. Lydia and Aaliyah make me feel weird. They are showing Lydia pump Aaliyah up so much, I worry it means that Lydia is going to F with Uche and Aaliyah. Which, actually, I think would be a favor for Aaliyah, but it would still suck. Alright, that's what I wrote. When we see them together. And it redefines the whole when she's crying and she's like, this man just kind of went off on me for cheating or whatever, right? And Lydia is going, that says something about him. That's how he's going to treat you. We are the same. We're good. You're amazing. Don't forget that. It totally reframes all of that, right? And what's crazy, oh my God, y'all, blowing my mind. When I was sitting there watching them, I was like, oh, Netflix keeps showing us this girl power. Like Lydia is really pumping up Aaliyah. And I was like, I just hope, like, I don't remember seeing anybody else that Uche really dated. So I was like, oh my God, are they dating? What is happening on the side? I cannot believe it. So we're just gonna, like, I'll go backwards. But so that is what I wrote. And then I'm like, and then like he read his poem and I was like, oh, his poem is actually way better than Stacy's, which, we're out of order now, but Stacy had written a poem that she read to one of the girls and it was awful and we're not 12. But anyway, I was surprised by his poem, but then I was kind of like, probably not. He's probably done a version of that for every girl, whatever. He gave her a journal, which I thought was really fun. I wish all of this was happening with a different couple because I don't like him. Anyway, but really fun side note, when Amber and I first started dating, we had a little green book like journal that we would write back and forth with. Like it was like a little journal that like I would write when I had it and then give it to her and she would write it anyway. But oh God, y'all, I'm like, my mind is blown. So I'm like typing these notes, right? And I'm like, this is the very end of the show. And I'm like, she says he's so honest and straightforward. And she just knows that he can depend on that. And immediately you see him get weird. Uche is weird. And he starts to talk about like, well, I have to be honest, which let us take a sidestep. You were all over that girl for the dishonesty between her and a guy who you don't even know, and then you've been keeping a little secret. And then he says, he gets weird and he talks about another date. And in here, I don't even know if you can see this, but I say, I swear if this is Lydia. And then he says that on the first day, he walked into the pods and he knew one of the girls, he had previously dated her, and it's Lydia. Sometimes my own ability to pick up on the foreshadowing, it just blows my mind. But I am both mind blown because I knew something was up there, but also I am mind blown because what? And this is not just him not telling her, but Lydia didn't say anything. Like, what? You're pumping her up, she's crying, you're holding her hand and telling her how it's going to be okay, and you haven't said something. What the flip? Whew. Okay, I had to. Like, this is why I did not Love is Blind for the whole weekend. I was not feeling very well, and I was like, my energy is not okay. And if I watch a show and something goes down and I don't have the energy to make a video, I will be so mad because honest and quick reactions are the best. When I have to sit here and like think about it, I start to get in my head and like everything else. So, oh my God. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's all take a cleansing breath. Hello, happy Monday. Like, here's the intro now. Talking about Love is Blind, season 5, episode 3. And I have a couple of little notes, a lot of them actually. Up first is JP and Taylor. They are going to meet. Now, I was like, oh, this should go off without a hitch. And it doesn't. It on the surface, it might, but it doesn't. She's not happy with the way he looks. Now, she says like, I'm so happy, like, oh, and they kiss. But every time there's a tiny bit of silence, she is awkward about it. You can tell she's not feeling comfortable. She keeps calling him sugar, my sugar butt, and he calls her my sugar. After, I'm pretty sure he was like, I don't like nicknames or pet names or whatever, but she put it on there, and there you go. It's a little much. But like after they meet, she says she liked the ring, and then she's like, "Oh, and I like your face too," but she doesn't. And you know what? Like she's telling us in a floating head interview, like, "Oh, I would never have gone for him." And she makes comments about his teeth and his looks, but it's okay because looks don't matter. Because looks don't matter. Looks don't matter. Guess what? We got it. We got it the first time. You didn't have to tell us 6 times that looks don't matter. You also don't have to tell us 8 times that you would overlook his teeth because looks don't matter. We get it. But it feels like you might be saying it because you don't believe it. You want it to be true. And I can't believe it. I think they're a cute couple. I think they're pretty evenly matched in the looks department. I don't understand, but she's not happy with his teeth for sure, and I think she's not really overall pleased. And also, she is already saying stuff like, "It's so weird to hear your voice come out of that face," and "Isn't it strange to say we love each other in person?" So she's already kind of showing that whole like it's hard to transition from the pods to in person. That's you know what? Sometimes I get it right, like Lydia and Uche. Oh my God. And sometimes I get it wrong. Like last video, I was like, this should be a pretty easy match. But then again, we all know that if it's too easy, it blows up. Speaking of easy, here we have Stacy's poem, and it is not good. It felt more like a camera stunt for camera time because she gives it to a girl and like talks to a girl about it. But also with Stacy, I'm having a hard time getting a read on. I can't tell if she's truly above it all or if it's like an act or like what exactly is happening with her. She's keeping it very cool and very calm. And it is interesting that like she's not giving what Izzy is wanting. So he is like, "Can you see a life with me?" And she's like, yeah, I don't know. For me, it's about trust, and we're building that. And like he's like with Johnny, he was doing the same thing. He was trying to pull them in before he gives too much, and she's just not playing that game. Like she's given a bit, but like she's not playing the game. When he's like, "What about love?" She's like, "Yeah, I mean, have I thought about it, but am I going to say it to you? No." So I have a feeling what gave her the edge over Johnny was that she has been keeping it a little bit out of touch, a little bit out of reach, making him work for it. That's just the feeling I get. And I do think it's interesting that like he wants a girl who's all in, and she is like, I don't know, like, yeah, I don't know. Like she's very not giving much. It's just a strange kind of, I don't know. Like I can't tell because I'm not my jury is out on Izzy. I don't know that he's a good guy. I'm not getting those vibes in this situation. It feels a little bit like, I don't know. And I kind of don't get a read on Stacy either. Now Johnny, who I like, but she's messy. I feel like Johnny is like, she's kind of a mess, but she knows she's a mess. Self-awareness. But she knows she's a mess, and like, I don't know. She's trying, but it's kind of weird, right? So let's talk about like Izzy and Stacy. And I'm trying to like reference notes, but anyway, so Izzy is gonna break up with Johnny. He breaks up with Johnny. They have a whole conversation where she's basically like, "For me, it's you." And she's like, "I think that I will always look back at you as a what if." And I, definitely, Chris, I could have had the fun, easy, good life with Chris, but that's so safe. And, I'm picking something different, right? Because my heart's not in safe. My heart's here. Now, she had already told him once before that she felt like she only really loved one guy. He was an addict. Addicts are notoriously unavailable. They are in their addiction, right? And she wound up marrying another guy. She what she called him a rebound. And that's when like Izzy melted down or whatever. So that's her conversation with him. And he says, sorry. Like, he's like, well, this is what it is. She's like, so are you breaking up with me? He says, yes. And it's over. And here's where it's a little weird. Her reaction that we see isn't necessarily overly emotional, but she does focus a lot on like, he's going to regret that. And like her and the girls are having a conversation about him and Stacy and about how they're going to be broken up in a month, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, ooh, maybe not. Maybe we dial it back and we focus on what we're doing and not what other people are doing. I'm just saying. So then they kind of encourage her to re-talk to Chris. Now, here's my thing about that. You are watching Izzy download the things that Johnny is telling him about her relationship with Chris. And if there is a doubt in your mind that Izzy is going to say something, it wasn't in mine. I was like, what did I say? Second chances can work out, but I have a feeling Izzy is going to burn Chris's second chance to the ground with these conversations. He can't wait to tell Chris just how much she likes him more, right? Then Izzy is talking to Stacy again, and he says that she's easy and it's effortless, and I'm thinking, this is the chick that told you repeatedly she will not be going deep. She does not want to get vulnerable. Of course, it's easier and more effortless. She doesn't want to get that. Like, she's keeping it light and easy. Like, I don't know. You have to think about what is the quality of what you're building. Just saying. I'm not saying that she's a better choice or that Johnny's a better choice. I actually think Johnny and Chris is a much better choice than Izzy and Johnny. But I don't know that Stacy's necessarily it either. And then he says he's never had a girl like him the way she likes him. And he's never had a girl understand him the way Stacy understands him. This is a flag. Because he's not saying I've never felt like this about a girl. He's saying I've never had a girl feel like this about me. Like, I'm picking you because of how you make me feel like you feel about me, which is so weirdly one-sided. It's kind of gross. Just saying. Chris and Izzy are sitting next to each other when Chris is about to go talk to Johnny. And you can physically see it driving Izzy crazy that they're about to talk. The idea that Johnny might circle back around to Chris is eating him up. We got to get over this, people. If you don't want somebody, let them go be happy. If you don't want somebody, let them go be happy. Now, let me also say this. There have been people in my life who at the moment I was like, you're it. You're my only chance for happiness. And I can tell you right now, I am married to my wife who I love, and I can't imagine a better relationship for me. And had that first tragedy worked out, I never would have gotten this one. I'm just saying. Okay. So they go have their conversation. Johnny and Chris, where she is kind of like brutally honest about how she finds Safe boring and, Izzy seemed more exciting. And I guess she says something like, that's the choice I make. I go after the unavailable. And I think what she's talking about is the relationship where she was with the addict and the bad relationships that did not work out. When she was talking to Izzy, she was saying, I don't want to repeat going after safe things. And she's focusing on the marriage that she feels like her heart wasn't in. So I don't think she's necessarily lying to either one of these guys. But of course, when Chris comes out and starts talking about what she said, Izzy's like, let me just tell you, I'll tell you what she said. The opposite. This is what she said, right? And they start comparing notes and they're like, oh man, this chick, like, she's telling us two different things. And I understand that, like, as they are saying it out loud, she is saying two conflicting things. However, I feel like what's happening is that she is talking about the two different aspects of her relationship history with the boys that it applies to. So I don't feel like she's necessarily lying, actually. I think that this is a communication issue that I mean, like, clearly it's a communication issue. The girl's not there, and we're having this weird sideways conversation between people. I feel like that's the end of episode 3. I don't even know. I'm about to go start episode 4. But like, my mind is blown. My mind is still blown. I keep circling back to the very beginning. I don't even know what to say to you guys right now. Like, I feel like I need to get out these pods and into the real world, because that's going to help us really start to sort some stuff out right now. That's how I feel. That's going to help us start sorting things out. But also, I feel like that's where it's going to go real sideways, because I think that Milton and Lydia are going to wind up together as of right now. I think they're going to wind up leaving the pods together, and that shit's going to burn down, because she didn't want Milton. She didn't. She wanted Izzy. And now we know that Lydia and Uche are somewhat connected. That's not great for us. It's not. I think that Stacy and Johnny are going to have issues. I think Izzy's going to continue. Like, if Johnny and Chris wind up leaving these pods together, I believe that the hookups where everybody, like, hangs out together, like the hangouts, are going to get insane. I honestly, at this point, like, I would say the only hope I kind of had was for JP and Taylor, and that seems like it's going to burn down, because Taylor is absolutely unhappy with the way he looks. This is no good. It's no good. I'm only on episode 3. I'm going into 4 in just a minute, but if you want to share your thoughts so far, go ahead. And oh my God, can you believe the Lydia Uche thing? It's a mess.